friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Today I'm taking you on a tour of my craft room. I have done this in other videos and you'll see that I have a craft room playlist, but today is a more in-depth look and I'll even comment about some problem areas for me. I know a couple of my subscribers love to organize and some of my crafty YouTuber friends have said they'll give me ideas. Keep in mind that I'm a butterfly. So in the clutter bug world, that means that if it takes two hands to open it up or you have to dig through too much, I won't use it. It has to be accessible and it has to be in open boxes or bins. That's just how it is. I know that if I put something away deep in a cupboard, I don't use it. So I'll show you around. If you love things super tidy, if in the clutter bug world you're a cricket, this video is probably not for you and it will probably stress you out. But this is my idea of clean. Okay, let's take a look. This is a cabinet that my neighbor put out and I have a trash to treasure video on it. You won't recognize it. And I painted it and did some fresh knobs and have brought it into the craft room and I love it. And I have set it up with my Pixie Plus. I have a plug-in down here so I can plug it in when I want. And my Big Shot. I used to keep my Big Shot down on a shelf. And it was just too much for me to lift it up and move it back and forth, even though I don't use it all the time. I love my smaller sidekick for die cutting, but some things just don't work size-wise. I have a back injury, so I try and set my craft room up with that in mind. Also, if my Pixie isn't sitting out, nothing gets stitched. So those are things to keep in mind. And in the drawers here, a lot of this stuff is set up for giveaways and Happy Mail. This is mailing supplies, tape, a Sharpie, my Crafting and Relaxing stickers, and this is stuff that would go into the Happy Mail, stamps and adhesive, and then down here I have more giveaway stuff and big mailers. So that's pretty much what I keep in there. This was a very specific drawer. It was almost all sequins. And now it is sequins and other bling because if you saw in a video, I made a list of things that I shouldn't buy and I have a few too many things of bling and maybe too many purple sequins. I'm not sure what happened there. So I have more behind me and I'll show you. This drawer is actually pretty specific and organized. This is journal making supplies. So I have the big crocodile for punching the big holes. I have the stretchy cord and my phone book, which I use to cradle it when I stab it. My pokey. I don't know why the glue gun's in there. Eyelets. So it's pretty much all journal making. So that's nice because when I go to make a journal or when I want to pack up for a girls' weekend, all the stuff to make a journal is in the same drawer. This drawer is clear packing materials that's been recycled for Happy Mail and all sorts of things, and then more giveaway stuff. And then this is just some miscellaneous embellishments and things that I have out, and these are storage containers. When I'm working on projects, I like to have lots of little containers around to put my embellishments, and I sort of set up color themes when I'm working on things. So that's what those are for. Here's I don't know what to do with it. Do you guys have the paper rosette maker by Tim Holtz? Is it all bent and a hot mess? Should I throw this away? I don't know. Just put it back under it. This area right here is junk journal supplies. So down here I have the stuff to assemble it, and here is what I would make it with. Old books, sheet music. I have a box that's labeled Flow Journal. If you're not familiar with the Flow magazine, it's all sorts of interesting papers that you could use in a junk journal. These are supplies that friends have given me that I set aside for junk journals. Cute little pockets, random letters, all sorts of things that I would use in journals. Not so much card making. That's what this section is. And up here is stuff that I've put together to make myself a journal. Tasha from A Date with My Craft Room gave me some neat stuff, and I made a cover for a book. So that's headed to be a journal for myself for 2020, kind of an update of the blue journal I did for 2019. This drawer, so it has the same problem as the sequin drawer. It's gotten a little out of control with trims and embellishments of a variety of types. And then I keep my crepe paper in here for making rosettes and tulle. Just all sorts of good stuff that you could use on a card. And there's journal decorative items in here. Okay, this is my cupboard of shame. This is my mixed media cupboard. That's pretty much what it is. It has tissue paper that I might use for Happy Mail, but it is mixed media and journal making and all sorts of things. I have cereal boxes to make covers. I have an atlas that I've used to make envelopes or pages for junk journals. I have fabric. I have a bin of fabric in the back. It's sort of an avalanche waiting to happen, but I don't have a better idea for that one. This drawer, so I work right here in the middle. So this is my left-hand side. In this drawer, I keep adhesive rolls, ribbon rolls, thread, small hole punches. Then down below, I have stamps and dies, more stamps, and embossing materials back here, heat embossing. And then all my acrylic stamp blocks. I had them in with my inks, but the drawer got too full, so I'm trying them in here. And in this bottom drawer, this is adhesive overload, which looks a little crazy, but if you saw my recent haul video, I did really well at Tuesday morning, so I got a bunch of rolls. And then punches. I don't necessarily recommend that you buy punches, but many of us have punches. And I do like to have circle punches. I use those a lot for layering, but there are so many dies and other things now. I'm not so sure we need that many punches. But this is punches and adhesive. I did keep my microphone in here, but Noni was clearing out her punches, so now I have more and there's not enough room. This is my mixed media cart. Not much has changed here since the last video. It might be a little messier because I layered some stuff. This is set up so it can roll out to the shop, or I can just roll it out and I have everything here. I keep acrylic paints, inks, brushes. I have more brushes in the drawer too. Gel printing stuff, all sorts of good stuff is on here. And it's set up to make messes and do all sorts of three-dimensional things. I might use some of this stuff to make embellishments, but I don't typically pull this cart out to make a card. There's dry time involved in almost everything in here. Right next to my journal making supplies, I have some journals, some other journal making supplies. The new book of etiquette, I mean, that is a junk journal, hilarious book. This is when I cleaned up from Christmas and winter and everything. These are things that I'm probably going to sit down and do some layered embellishments with. So some of you have commented that you like to see me make embellishments. I clearly need to be doing it. What happens is when I craft and craft and craft, I just end up with a bunch of random items. It's just easier to sit down and make embellishments with them than to figure out where each item goes back. I don't want to spend time putting one button away. I could just glue it to something. This is bling and embellishments. It could be from Tuesday morning. It could be from anywhere. It could be given to me. But it's all sorts of things to decorate with. So when I'm sitting right here working, I can reach over here. When I prep for a certain type of thing, I might go through there and pull out all the color theme. Like right now I'm working on Valentine's Day, or I'm starting to, and so I'll show you my beginning bin for that. And then here's my paper for Valentine's Day. Turns out I have a Valentine's collection kit. Look at all this pink. If you watch my channel, I don't have a lot of pink. Then this basket is overflow of this and this. It's the same idea. It's Christmas stuff that I left out because I think you can always use gold. I'm not sure I'm going to use these green ones anytime soon. Maybe when we get into spring. I like to have stuff on the walls. I like to be able to see it and grab it. So I usually keep rolls of adhesive right here. When they get low, I'll pull another one out of the drawer and put it up. I've had my stamp cases on the wall. They look nice, but I don't use them a lot. So I might move them to a different wall, or I might go through these and say, okay, some of my woodblock stamps, it's time to go, and thin them out. And what I notice is if I keep thread up here, I never use that thread because my brain doesn't think to look there. I always look in the big group where I keep thread in the back of this drawer. So I've tried that, but that doesn't work either. Probably the same for those flowers. They would sit up there and I would never even think to use them and look for them there. That's just how I roll. Okay, here's my workspace. I have the Tim Holtz tonic mat. I love this to work on. I like it because nothing, alcohol inks, paint, ink, archival inks, nothing can stain my counter. I don't love it to film on because the lights reflect and I think it's really annoying. So you'll notice a lot of my videos you're going to be looking at my countertop or you'll look at something else. I also have a board I put up there sometimes. But if I'm just working and making a mess, I'm working on this. I keep my Sidekick small die cutter right here. These are projects that I'm going to work on. And I keep a bunch of dies right here in these little boxes so I can make layers as I go. My lamps are from Costco and they have USB plugs in the back. I love that because I can plug in my camera or my iPad or whatever. If I want to watch movies while I craft, my iPad never runs out of batteries. On the wall, I have, so I'm right-handed, I keep all my scissors on the right and embellishments and trims that I'd like to use or some that just people sent me and they're so gorgeous I like to have them on the wall. I keep them right there. Up here is all the cards that I've received in Happy Mail. And I think it's probably time for me to take this down, rearrange it, probably put them in some kind of little fun basket or box with an open top so I can flip through them for inspiration and see them. There just isn't enough room to display them. And I think I might need to put actual craft supplies on these shelves just to get stuff up off the counter because I'm so messy. I know I'm messy. I'm okay with that. This is a completely new thing that I'm trying. So you haven't seen this before. I put my big Caterpillar crop on the counter. And to do 12 by 12, you have to keep the arm out. If I put this arm in, it would take me about 10 minutes and you wouldn't be able to put this out anymore. So I'm leaving the arm out. Hopefully that will allow me to actually use it. My favorite cutter, I'll show you my trick, is right here in this drawer. And sometimes I don't take it out of the drawer. I just leave it right here and I use it. All the little tiny scraps go in there. If I'm just doing a couple of small cuts, I don't take it out. If I'm doing a whole bunch of cards, I pull it out up here. This is the small Tim Holtz tonic one. I love everything about this cutter except it doesn't do 12 by 12. So that's why I have the Caterpillar crop, because for 12 by 12 papers, this one just doesn't work. So I kind of love having it right there. I have baby wipes here for when things get messy, and I usually have rags, but there don't seem to be any. Inks and daubers right here. This cupboard, I could use some advice on, you organizational people. I keep my garbage in there because sometimes I have candy wrappers. Like right now I see a Kit Kat. I also have a hook right here. So if I'm crafting for hours, I put it right there. But I put my garbage away in the cupboard when I leave so I don't have problems with my dogs. Down here, all I keep is envelopes because it's really kind of hard to reach. There is another half shelf back here. It's half empty. This isn't a great place to store stuff. So maybe this year I'll put holiday stuff in here because I'll show you I do have more holiday stuff than last year. But these low cupboards, they just don't work very well for me. So it's definitely not efficient space. This cupboard, the top shelf is kind of the same thing. A little bit hard to reach, so it's not stuff I use a lot. I have some hand lettering supplies and a clipboard. That green box holds 12 by 12 and clear bag stuff that doesn't fit in that other drawer. Stuff I might use for Happy Mail or when you're bagging projects partway through. I do that quite a bit if I'm taking them to a friend's house. That protein bar box is a UFO. It's unfinished objects for my mom's quilt scrapbook pages. Then down here, last time I made a video, I think I had 3 things of washi. Now I have 4. That's why I was on a don't buy washi unless it's dogs or cats for a while. This is nice basil cardstock for making card bases. And then I have a package over here of the Michaels brand for making card bases, the 110 pound. And then the rest of this is cardstock, mixed media paper, white scraps, strips. This is how I store my strips for strip cards until I make them. I have videos on that, more washi. And this is 80-pound Nina cardstock that's really nice quality, but it's not for card bases. This cupboard has gone terribly wrong. It's a bunch of wasted space. The pink box is my specialty papers. So mirror papers, glitter papers, textured papers. It was plenty of room. Clearly, I've gone on a bit of a spree and maybe should use some up. Then some storage things. These are mostly things I don't like. Many of you have talked about these and try them. I don't love them. And pocket pages for pocket letters. And my microphone's right here too. I've been keeping it there now. When I do voiceovers, I use this blue microphone. Then this drawer, I had overflow from my inks. It just got too messy and too full in here, so I have a container right here. These are mostly my archival inks. These are permanent. These are great for mixed media or the outsides of envelopes. They are not great for super detailed sentiments because they're a little oily and they don't always stay exactly where you put them. And a normal person would not notice though. It's still a beautiful ink. Here is my favorite, absolute favorite value paper trimmer. It's the Cricut paper trimmer. You can get it on their website. I think you can get it on Amazon. This is the best paper cutter for $10. Does 12 by 12. If you make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cards, usually the plastic trimmers don't hold up as well. So that's why I have other trimmers and I'm always looking for the perfect trimmer. Here's my 12 by 12 scoreboard. I have a small scoreboard, and then I have a Tim Holtz stamp platform, which I don't use a whole lot, you guys. I learned to stamp with wood blocks, and I use blocks a lot. Down in the bottom, I have iris cases up on end, and I also have a book that holds scrapbook pages in progress. And so I've labeled my iris cases on the sides. Solid scraps, patterned scraps, and solids. And then I have one that's mixed embellishments. So that's all paper. I usually go through there when I start a project or when I'm looking for something, but I don't access it a bunch of times during the day. So it works pretty well to have it down on the bottom. You'll notice in my craft room a lot that I use recycled cardboard boxes. I don't like to buy a lot of plastic containers, and I'm not that concerned with how things look. I'd rather spend my money on craft supplies and not bring so much plastic in. But some people would decorate these. I might. I haven't yet. They are finished cards. That's what these two boxes are. Not full, but finished cards. And up here, I prepped a bunch of stuff and then got really sick, so did not participate in any craft fairs. UFOs are unfinished objects. Then these are my projects in process. This is Splendor, which has been sitting here since spring colors and summer colors were good. That was for my beginning card series. I have a playlist on that, and I haven't had any requests to continue it, so I'm not working on it right now. This is my blue book. This is a journal I made for myself, complete messy blue junk journal. This is Valentine's Day. So this is a great example of how I work. When I cleaned up from Christmas, I took anything that was red and not specifically Christmas and tossed it in because I know I'm going to do some stuff for Valentine's Day. So I have red, white, pink. I have red glitter paper. I have a bunch of hearts that I found while I was cleaning my room. I have some rosettes that I made. And I'll sit down and go through my papers and look for papers that match this, hearts, pink, whatever I have, especially in like pads that I've already cut into. So in here, this is a great place to show you. These are my 6x6 pads. Some of these are untouched, but some, like this one for example, are partials. So I'll go through here and look and see if I have stuff that I want to use for Valentine's Day, and I'll pull it out and start putting it together as if I had purchased a collection for Valentine's Day. Then this is a video I need to film. It's a haul, and this is a giveaway that I have pending. So see, these are things that I'm working on right here. This is just a stack of art journaling magazines and an 8x8 pad and card bases. So this is one thing I don't have a good spot for in my room, is I usually have a box like this of card bases, but I'm down to, it looks like half a dozen. So I need to make a bunch, and then I need to figure out where I'm going to keep them that's super handy next to my chair, because what I usually do is put a box of them out there, but sometimes it gets buried. Right here, these are some miscellaneous pads, and these are Happy Mail that goes with a pad that's down there. This section here is all collections. So I have something more than just a 6x6 paper pad here. Let me give you an example. This is a purchased Carta Bella Snow Much Fun paper, 12x12, the stickers, the whole collection is in here. Here's another one where I have the stickers and the ephemera that go with it, and some paper that I'm planning to use it with it. So I've kept them all together. Some I keep in bags. I don't have a Daiso near me, and again, I don't like to spend the money on the storage instead of the actual products, but you'll see that I do keep things together. So like here I've taken a bag, recycled a bag, and I have the 6x6 pad, the chipboard stickers, and another set of chipboard stickers. And I bag them all together and put them in here. And when I go to do No Paper Left Behind or look for something, I go through here and pick it out. This is that fabulous box that many of us have from Tuesday morning, and I use the lid actually as a tray when I work in bed, but I use these boxes for storing scraps by color families, and then I have one that's printed paper. So these are great for die cutting, because if it fits in this box, it's probably something I'm just going to use as a scrap for die cutting. I also use these boxes, you saw some of them, to store the actual dies in. They're great for travel. I love the boxes. And I just use the base to hold them all together. That's all I use it for. Down here is more embellishments, buttons, brads, some twine, somewhat sorted by color family. This is from Robin's Feathered Nest. This is the journal cover that I'm going to put my December daily in when I'm done. And this is another box of collections. It's the same idea as the shelf above, but they're 6x6s. The box itself is from Tuesday morning, and then what I've done is in a slot right here, I've put the family. So I have the glitter chipboard, the brads, and the 6x6 that it goes with. Here's another one where I have the paper and the flowers that it goes with. And I just put them in there until I come back and look for something. Which is why you'll hear me say, I don't need to go to Tuesday morning. I should shop at home. This whole cabinet right here, except for my little notebook where I keep track of things, is embroidery floss. Every drawer, for the most part, sorted by color family, but not always. And I keep it right here because it's great to put my coffee on in the morning. I don't use embroidery floss all the time, but again, it's another one of those things where I try to remember. I can reach in here, I can pull out a pink one, and I can throw it in my Valentine's Day kit. So I will use it on cards. Down here in the bottom, my holiday stuff got away from me. Last year, holiday was one container, and I just slid it under here. This year it's 3. So that's why I'm thinking I'm going to keep them in the cupboard or somewhere else. And then this down here on the very bottom is acrylic paint. It's a whole tub of acrylic paint that I brought in from the shop for the winter. And our weather hasn't been that cold, so I might just take it back out. And here are some containers from Daiso that I like to use to put my collections in when I'm working or when I'm going to a friend's house. But it's really nice, especially when I start something, to keep all the loose parts together. I think that's it. I think I've showed you everything in my craft room. The only thing I didn't show you was when I get messy, I have a tendency to set up folding tables, either a card table or a 4-foot table, sometimes both. I do have a lot of square footage. I just share it with 2 dogs. Look at my crafty friends. These are my roommates that I craft with. This is Pooh Bear. She's older and she used to be the boss, but she doesn't seem to be so much anymore. And this is Wilson. He's her muscle. She chose him at the shelter. He was a project that we would not have brought home. Right, handsome? Yeah, yeah. He is sweet as can be to me. But heaven help you if you show up unannounced. Huh? He says, yeah, I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy and I'm a garter. Yeah. So these are my crafting buddies. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me. Bye-bye.